In this episode, we're going to talk about responsible AI in a way that connects directly to security and to real-world decision-making. Responsible AI is not a single feature you turn on. It is a set of principles that guide how AI systems are designed, used, and monitored so they do not cause avoidable harm. For beginners, the most important thing to understand is that AI systems often influence people's opportunities, access, and treatment, even when they are used with good intentions. When an AI system behaves unfairly, hides how it works, or cannot be explained in a meaningful way, it becomes hard to trust and hard to control. That is where fairness, transparency, and explainability come in. These principles are connected to security because they affect accountability, abuse prevention, and the ability to detect when something has gone wrong. The goal is not to make you a philosopher. The goal is to give you a practical understanding of what these principles mean and how choices about them shape risk. Before we continue, a quick note. This audio course is a companion to our course companion books. The first book is about the exam and provides detailed information on how to pass it best. The second book is a Kindle-only ebook that contains 1,000 flashcards that can be used on your mobile device or Kindle. Check them both out at cyber.author.me in the Bare Metal Study Guide series. Fairness is about whether an AI system treats people or cases in a way that is reasonable and consistent, especially across different groups. Beginners often think fairness means everyone gets the same outcome, but in practice, fairness is more about whether differences in outcomes are justified by the goal and the rules of the system. For example, an AI tool that helps prioritize support tickets should not consistently deprioritize certain users for irrelevant reasons, and a tool that helps screen applications should not systematically disadvantage people based on characteristics that should not matter. Fairness challenges often come from data, because if the data reflects historical bias or unequal coverage, the AI can learn those patterns and repeat them. Fairness can also be affected by how the system is used, because a tool might be intended to assist humans but ends up being treated as an automatic decision maker. From a security viewpoint, unfairness is not only a moral issue, it is a risk issue because biased behavior can lead to complaints, legal exposure, reputation harm, and adversarial exploitation. If an attacker can predict that a system treats certain cases differently, they can sometimes manipulate inputs to get more favorable outcomes. Transparency is about being open and clear about what an AI system is, what it is used for, what data it relies on, and what its limits are. Transparency does not necessarily mean revealing every detail of how a model is built, especially when that could create security problems, but it does mean avoiding hidden or misleading use. People affected by AI decisions often deserve to know that AI was involved and what role it played. Transparency also helps internal teams understand what the system is supposed to do, which reduces misuse and reduces the chance of accidental over-reliance. For beginners, think of transparency as honest labeling and clear expectations. If a system is only meant to suggest options, it should not be presented as guaranteed truth. If a system has known blind spots, users should be warned in practical terms. Security teams care about transparency because unclear systems become harder to monitor and audit, and unclear boundaries make it easier for unsafe behavior to hide in plain sight. Explainability is about whether you can provide a meaningful explanation for why the AI produced a particular output or decision. Explainability can range from simple, like listing the main factors that influenced a decision, to complex, like providing detailed reasoning traces and confidence information. The key beginner idea is that explainability is not the same as dumping technical details. It is about providing explanations that help humans make better decisions and verify that the system is behaving appropriately. Explainability matters when a decision has impact, because people will ask why, and because accountability requires an answer that can be evaluated. It also matters for debugging, because if you cannot understand why a system behaved a certain way, you cannot fix it reliably. From a security angle, explainability supports detection of abuse, because if an attacker manipulates inputs to steer the AI, explainability can reveal suspicious patterns. It can also expose weaknesses, so explainability choices must balance helpfulness with security, ensuring that explanations do not leak sensitive data or provide attackers with a roadmap to bypass controls. These three principles often create trade-offs, and beginners should get comfortable with the idea that there is rarely a perfect, one-size-fits-all choice. Increasing transparency can improve trust, but it can also reveal information that attackers might exploit, so you need to decide what to disclose and to whom. Increasing explainability can improve accountability, but it can also add complexity and might expose sensitive signals that should not be shared broadly. Fairness improvements can require changes to data collection and evaluation, but changes to data collection can raise privacy concerns if done carelessly. The point is not to get stuck. The point is to choose intentionally and to document those choices. Responsible AI is largely about making trade-offs visible, setting boundaries, and monitoring outcomes. When organizations skip this work, they often discover later that their system caused harm, and by then it is more expensive and disruptive to fix. A useful way to think about fairness is to ask what kind of harm could result from a wrong or biased output. If an AI system is used for low-impact tasks, like suggesting topics for a newsletter, the fairness risk may be lower. If it is used for higher-impact tasks, like prioritizing who gets help first or deciding whether someone can access a resource, fairness risk becomes much more serious. Even in security contexts, fairness matters because security controls can affect people differently. For example, an automated fraud detector might flag certain users more often, creating unequal friction, and that can erode trust and encourage workarounds. Responsible AI asks you to evaluate whether the system's errors are evenly distributed or whether they fall more heavily on certain groups. It also asks you to decide what you will do when you find an imbalance, such as adjusting thresholds, improving data quality, or adding human review. Beginners do not need to master statistics to understand this. They just need to understand that bias can hide inside data and that outcomes must be monitored. Transparency also includes being clear about the difference between assistance and authority. Many AI systems are designed to assist a human, but users may treat them as authoritative because the outputs look confident. That can create harm when the AI is wrong or when it is operating outside its strengths. Responsible AI encourages clear messaging about what the system is meant to do, what it cannot do, and when a human must override it. In security, this is especially important because AI outputs might include risk ratings, incident summaries, or recommended actions, and those can influence real decisions under time pressure. Transparency here might mean documenting the model's purpose, listing the types of inputs it expects, and identifying known failure modes. It also means being honest about uncertainty, because uncertainty is a normal part of AI behavior. When transparency is weak, people build false confidence, and false confidence can be more dangerous than obvious limitations. Explainability choices often depend on the audience and the impact of the decision. A technical team might need deeper explanations to debug and improve a system, while an end user might need a simpler explanation that focuses on the main reasons and the next steps. Responsible AI does not force the same explanation level everywhere. It encourages providing the right explanation to the right person while protecting sensitive information. In security, explainability can also support incident investigation, because if an AI-driven tool flags something, investigators need to know what signals contributed to that flag. That does not mean every detail should be exposed to everyone, but it does mean there should be a traceable record of why the system behaved as it did. Beginners can think of explainability as the difference between a mysterious alarm that just says bad and an alarm that says what it noticed and how confident it was. The second one is easier to trust and easier to correct when it is wrong. A common misconception is that responsible AI principles are separate from cybersecurity, but they overlap strongly. Fairness and transparency affect trust, and trust affects whether people follow security processes or try to bypass them. Explainability affects accountability, and accountability affects whether organizations can prove they acted responsibly. Responsible AI also reduces the risk of harmful misuse, because clearer boundaries and better monitoring make it harder for attackers to exploit the system without being noticed. Another misconception is that responsible AI is only relevant for high-profile systems like hiring or law enforcement, but responsible AI matters anywhere AI influences decisions, including internal tools. Even an internal AI assistant that summarizes incidents can cause harm if it consistently misrepresents certain types of events or if it hides uncertainty and leads to poor decisions. Responsible AI principles scale down. They are not only for big, dramatic use cases. As we close, remember that fairness, transparency, and explainability are practical choices that shape how safe and trustworthy an AI system will be. Fairness focuses on whether outcomes are reasonable and consistent across groups, and whether biases in data or use create avoidable harm. Transparency focuses on clear communication about what the system is, what it does, what it uses, and what its limits are, without misleading users into overtrust. Explainability focuses on providing meaningful reasons for outputs and decisions so humans can evaluate, challenge, and improve the system. These principles interact and sometimes conflict, so responsible AI is about making intentional trade-offs, documenting them, and monitoring real outcomes over time. For CompTIA Security AI learners, understanding these ideas helps you evaluate AI systems not only by how accurate they seem, but by how safely they fit into human decision-making. When you apply responsible AI principles, you reduce hidden risk, improve accountability, and build systems that remain trustworthy even when conditions change.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.